Vision boards are all the rage around this time of the year, in December and November, and they are quite polarizing, as those who love them really love them and those who hate them also really hate them. I personally love them. I've used them before and they work for me for the most part. But the most common reason I see people cite for not liking vision boards is because it feels very woo-woo, and at a certain point I agree in the sense that the whole manifestation content sphere is just filled with so much just think about it and it will happen, which is obviously not the case. I mean, logically, how would that work? Like physically thinking something in your brain does not actually on its own make something manifest in your life. So I see why people have the same apprehensions towards vision boards, as it seems like just an extension of that area, or just a visual, more aesthetic or more modern way of doing the same thing, thinking about something and then making it happen. Basically law of attraction or manifestation, but for the aesthetic colors. It is quite different, and that's not to say that those things don't work, and in a way they work in a very similar way to vision boards, because there is actually science behind how vision boards work. If you do them the right way, they will work if you do it the right way. And in this video I thought I would show you some of that scientific experiments were done, real research was done by real researchers that showed that things like vision boarding can actually help you achieve your goals. Now, to understand how vision boarding works scientifically at a neuroscientific level, we have to understand a system called RAS. In full, it's a reticular activating system. This is a bundle of nerves in your brain that help you filter out information. So basically, in a day, I think just ads, a normal regular human being sees maybe 20,000 adverts in a day, but somehow if you're looking for an earring, you will notice the earring ads. If you're looking for a necklace, you will notice that. And that is what this RAS system serves. That's how this RAS system serves us. Apparently, evolution-wise, it was the difference between hearing a predator attacking you out in the wild when we still lived unhoused. It was the difference between hearing a lion coming after you and birds chirping, or insects just sound insects make, I don't know, insects making insect sounds. Because we've got so much stimulus happening around us, we are able to filter out what we need for our survival or for our enhancement. Like right now, I've just noticed the clouds outside my window are moving because I did look at the clouds to try and make my point. I was going to say something about them, I'm not sure what I was going to say, but once I looked at them, because I needed that information to make my point in this video, then I noticed they were moving, but this whole time they were moving and I didn't notice that they were, and that is the RAS at work. Before, all I noticed was my phone recording this video and maybe this mic, but because I made the conscious effort that I need the clouds to illustrate my point, then I noticed that they were moving. RAS also has 3 other benefits apart from filtering out information, which are also actually really relevant to vision boarding. One of them is to regulate consciousness. So between waking and being asleep, it's the RAS that manages that transition when you wake up in the morning. It's why when you're asleep and someone maybe comes to talk to you, of course at a reasonable volume, you will not hear them, while if you're awake, you will hear them. That's the RAS still at work. And this is relevant for vision boarding because I always say this, we mostly exist on a subconscious level. The way you choose the food to eat, you usually choose the easiest option. How you choose what way to walk, maybe between 2 roads, is usually the easiest option, the one you're most familiar with, the one you know best, even if it is not the best option. It is how people stay in places, in relationships, in schools, in careers that they don't necessarily resonate with, but just because it's the closest thing to them that they know, they just go along with it. In a way, basically this is familiarity. What is familiar, no matter, to a certain extent, no matter how much it is not serving us, we just keep going with that. Now, how do we relate this to vision boarding? If you are just skating through life, not giving a damn, at each point, for each action you take, you will just be taking the easiest action possible. Now let's use food, which is the easiest example. If you're in school, you'll probably just eat what the cafe provides. If you work, you'll just eat what's available. And if you're at home, you just eat what you have or what you can easily buy or what's at the closest supermarket. But if you take the time to put on your vision board that maybe this year I'm gonna have 5 portions of fruit and veg every day, then all of a sudden when the cafe is only serving croissants or pain raison or just pastries, when you're making that decision to go and eat that, your RAS is going to be activated to look out for what. It's through the RAS that you will not go for that option despite it not being familiar, because your RAS is also working with the information you gave it that, oh, I would like maybe to have an apple instead. and then when you head out, you'll be able to pick up that apple from the supermarket because you did that initial work to tell your RAS, actually this is what we are looking out for. Other way that RAS is relevant in helping us achieve our vision board goals is by directing attention. So obviously, as you can see, in a way, the RAS's benefits are the steps from which you see a stimulus to when you take action, and now directing attention is right before you take action. So like the apple example that I gave, if you notice that your cafe at work is only serving pastries and you don't have the fruit that you want, it is the RAS that is going to direct your attention to going to maybe the second closest cafe to your work that actually does have fruit options. Or when you're walking into work and you're aware that, oh no, I do know that they only serve pastries at my work cafe, it's the RAS that is going to notice that fruit stand outside your office for you to think on later that, oh yeah, I can head out and get what actually serves my goals. Finally, RAS, like I said, the final step in this process is taking action. The RAS also motivates behavior. It is what pushes you to react to the stimulus in your environment. Let's still use food as an example because we eat every day. I feel like food is always a good example. To use food as an example, and then maybe I think of another example just to illustrate the point a little bit better. If you saw said fruit stand outside your office, it is through the RAS that you'll be motivated to go to said fruit stand and pick up that fruit. But now let's use another example, like maybe you want to switch careers, maybe you want to leave your job. Once you put it on your vision board and you tell your particular activating system that, hey, this year is the year I leave my job and maybe switch careers, without giving the RAS that information, you'd probably just work at your job. This is how people work at jobs for 25 years and then they wake up and they're like, wow, I cannot believe I've been here for 2.5 decades. But once you give the RAS that information that, you know what, this year we want to switch jobs, when you meet someone, for example, working in the career you want to go into, that's the RAS motivating you to go towards that person and ask, hey, I need some help, I need some advice. When you see job posts on LinkedIn, actually, you know what, before you see those job posts, you're putting yourself in a position to be able to see those job posts, maybe putting up alerts, putting it online, and then setting your algorithm in a way that they're going to offer you information from the people working in that career. This is something I always recommend to people, that algorithms are working against us only if you don't know how to control it. But for example, when I started this YouTube channel, I went and searched in TikTok, not because I was looking for advice in that moment about how to grow a YouTube channel or what's best to post on YouTube, but I went and searched because now I'm telling the algorithm to serve me that information. In a way, the RAS works like an algorithm. You tell it that, hey, this is what I want, and then it goes into the world, into the environment, and serves you different opportunities for you to react to that. So now the RAS is pushing you to go and set up those LinkedIn alerts, to go and tune your TikTok algorithm, your YouTube algorithm, and then even at the point when that information is served to you by the algorithm, by the universe, by the world, by the adverts, it is the RAS that is going to recognize that information and say, oh, click here, click that, take a picture, take a screenshot, save that video. It is the RAS at work. And this is vision boarding, working at a scientific level, working at a neurological level. All the decisions that we make, all the actions that we take, we need to think about them in the brain first. And this is how your vision board is able to do that at a cellular level. Literally, a nerve is a cell. So we are working with actual science. It's not magic, it's not astrology, it's not woo-woo. This is actually your brain tuning the systems you already have inside you to work in favor of you rather than against you. Another way vision boards can help you scientifically achieve your brains is through something called mental imaging. So basically, there is a paper which I will link down below where they did some research and found that the pathways the brain takes to imagine you doing something are very similar to the neural pathways that are triggered when you actually do something. So for example, when you imagine yourself exercising at the gym, then same neural pathways are triggered when you actually do that. The only thing obviously that is missing is the motor trigger, basically for your brain to actually make your hand pick up the weight and then move it in repetitive motions. But from the point of conception of the idea to the point at which you pick up the weight or you actually head to the gym, those pathways are exactly the same. What a vision board is going to do is introduce the mental imaging. I feel like I should have mentioned before I headed into this point, this only works if you do your vision board right. Now, I made a whole video on how to make an intentional vision board that focuses on processes rather than outcomes. So this can only work if you do it that way, which is why I emphasize that. Instead of having someone ripped on your vision board, you're going to have what you're going to do to get to that ripped physique. You're going to have maybe weights on there. We're going to have let's say a healthy meal on there that shows that that's what you're going to do. So that's the only way mental imaging is going to work, because if you're looking at that picture of that guy or girl with that six-pack, only thing going to be triggered in your brain is envy, jealousy, or sadness that you don't have that. But if you have weights, for example, on your vision board, then you are training your brain. You're having those same neurological pathways triggered that you would if you actually intended to lift those weights. Now, why is this important? Because you're thinking, okay, how does that help me? Now, I'm sure you know that it takes more effort to do something if you're doing it for the first time. For example, if you're going somewhere, if someone gives you directions to somewhere for the first time, it takes more mental energy to go there the first time than the second time, and then the second time more mental energy than the third time, because you are just training yourself, you're just training your mind to go through that journey. But once you go there the 10th time, you know, it will be much easier, and maybe you look even forward to doing that. So that's what we're doing here with mental imaging. When you picture yourself doing that action of lifting the weights, tomorrow when you actually have to lift the weights, it is not a whole new process for you to start from the trigger of, oh, I have to go to the gym, and it's like, okay, do I do 2 kilos? Do I do 3 kilos? Do I even really need to lift to do this? I don't think so. Maybe, yeah. So we're taking more energy to do something, and yet if we had primed ourselves with that image of seeing the vision board, looking at the vision board every now and then, of knowing, oh, my vision board says I have to lift 5 kilos of this weight, maybe, I don't know, 20. I don't lift heavy weights, so I'm not sure how many reps you do, but let's say 12 reps, 3 sets of 12. When it's time to do that, you will get to that point, get dressed, and go to the gym knowing what you're going to do. You will need less mental energy to go through that process than if you just woke up in the morning. You just know that, oh yeah, I'm trying to improve my physique, but how do I do that? I guess I could lift, I could do calisthenics, I could do Pilates. No, you've made that decision and you've primed your brain to go through that process already. So when it's time to do that, it's going to be a 30-second process for you to do that and then head off. And this is why to-do lists work. I personally live by to-do lists. If I don't make a to-do list the next day, I'll literally just rot in bed and sleep the day away. In a way, we can think of your vision board as a to-do list that you're going to replicate over and over and over again throughout the year. I don't like to use fitness all the time as an example of goals. Let's try something else. A side hustle, right? Let's say I would have YouTube as a side hustle. I'm not really doing this for the money though, but you know, it would be nice. Let's say I put my upload schedule on my vision board, which is 2 times a week. Hopefully it's quite a bit to maintain, if I'm being honest. But yeah, let's say I put it there. Every time I get into a situation of thinking about my finances, I'm not like, yeah, but what am I going to do? What do I do to change to make some passive income? What money I make every month is not tied to the amount of effort that I'm putting in, even though usually not totally passive, but you get what I'm saying. Like, there are passive ways to make money through this. Affiliate links and all. Every time I get to that point of thinking about my finance, I do not have to start from that point of, oh no, what am I going to do? No, I know it's on there on the board. When it comes to time to think like, oh no, I need to improve my financial situation, I pick up the phone, put it up, set up the mic. It's already actually set up here permanently. I have it back on here most of the time because I'm recording most of the time. I also record other videos for clients, so I do need the mic. It's taking away all that friction that I would normally have to go through to think, oh yeah, maybe I'll try dropshipping. Please don't do that. Maybe I'll try day trading again. Don't do that. It's taking away all those steps, and whenever I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to do something, I just set up the phone and record. The fourth way in which vision boards work on a scientific level is through something called implementation intentions. Now again, this is only going to work if you did your vision board right with processes rather than outcomes. So basically, implementation intentions is when you decide you want something and decide how and when and where you're going to implement that. If we use an example again, I hate to go back, but let's go to breakfast. If you want to eat healthier breakfasts, you can simply say, oh, I want to eat healthier breakfasts. And maybe put on your vision board, healthy breakfast. Where implementation intentions come in is where you say, oh, okay, so now I've said I'm going to eat healthier breakfasts. What am I going to do to achieve this goal? Maybe I'll buy some whole grains at home, I'll have some eggs, eggs are not whole grains. I'll have some oats, some barley, some sourdough bread that I keep at home at all times, or I have a wide variety of options when I want to make a breakfast every morning. You've set the implementation intention, and a vision board can serve to help you do that. If you do it right, remember, you have to do it right. Process rather than outcome. If you have on your vision board, for example, breakfasts, everyone usually goes through, let's say you find 3 healthy breakfasts, sourdough and eggs, oats, what else, baked oatmeal cookies, and then you find those pictures and add them to your vision board. When it comes for you the next 2-3 months of the year, I'm guessing I personally repeat breakfast, those can carry you through those 3 months, and every morning, instead of waking up and like, I want to eat a healthy breakfast, but oh god, now I have to go shop, I have to go do this, I have to go do that. No, you set the implementation intention when you are making your vision board. You did the shop, everything is in the house. There is no work that needs to be done except to do the preparation, except to go through with execution. Another example is, I'll go to the gym after work. When the time comes, you're not thinking, oh, maybe I need to rest, maybe I should watch an episode first. You've set the implementation intention that after work I go to the gym. And if you have it on your board that 5 p.m. is for the gym, that is you setting the implementation intention. That's your vision board helping you make that. This was actually proven by an actual study that I'll still link down below, which found that if people just express desire for something, I want to make more money, it was less likely to happen than if they said, I want to make more money and I'm going to start a shop, start an online brand, start a YouTube channel, get a second job, get a job, maybe you don't even have a job in the first place. It found that those people were more likely to achieve their goals, and that is what a vision board can do for you if you're doing it right. If you want to have this dream life where your feet are financially free, you look good, you have good relationships with people, write down all those goals, think how you can get to them, and then summarize it and put it on a beautiful board that you can look at and reminds you every day, not only you want this life, but also how you are going to get there. That's it. Honestly, I didn't have much to say in this video, but to summarize these 3 points to show you that vision boards do actually work on a scientific level, because I totally understand why you would have apprehensions against these things. I do too, like I mentioned before, the whole manifestation without action, law of attraction without taking the action. I do not subscribe to that, but this can actually work if you do it right. The main takeaway of this video should not be that my vision board is going to manifest when I make it. The main takeaway of this video should be, my vision board is going to push me to go after the things that I want. If you are struggling with your goals, it has clearly shown that relying on motivation, intrinsic motivation, has not worked before. Therefore, we need some kind of extrinsic outside force to push us to go after that. Motivation in general is not reliable, but a little bit helps. It's not the key to achieving the goal, but it is one of the keys to getting there. It is also really fun, incredibly aesthetic, and why not? But you have to remember that the work has to be done. There is no other shortcut to getting to your dreams other than putting in the work. No amount of vision boarding is going to help you get to where you want to do without working. The thing is that working is difficult. I acknowledge that, I know that, but we can make it a little bit easy for us. And a lot of this hesitance to do things is mostly mental. So if you can figure that out, if you can sort that out and get those mental obstacles out of the way, you're already 70% close. Actually lifting a weight, lifting a metal from the ground and putting it close to your shoulder and putting it down and then putting it back up, it's not difficult. You lift things every day, but that mental resistance that's there, that's like, but I would rather scroll TikTok, that's the actual problem. That's what we're trying to get over, and there is no way to go to the physical action without getting over the mental friction. So that's where the vision board comes in. Lucky for us, that is the more difficult part. So take advantage of that, sort out this, make a proper vision board. Don't just fantasize, think about how you're actually going to get those things, and you will get there. Anyway, like I mentioned, I have a video on how to make a good vision board that actually follows these principles, and that will be linked in the description below. And I have also other 2 other videos in this vision boarding series, which is common mistakes people make and how to make your vision board actually turn into reality. You can also check them out in the description or on my channel. I'm launching a Substack as well. I'll have that linked below if you want to check that out. Yeah, have a lovely day.